going on, everybody? It is Tuesday afternoon. Just heading back down south from Indianapolis, Plainfield area. Been a little crazy here lately. I guess it was about a month ago, we did a video on my radiator blowing up. That was the start of all of it. We replaced the radiator. That was in Calhoun, Georgia. And 2 release valves on both my air tanks underneath the Columbia. And that bill was $1,500. Parts, labor for both jobs, everything at the same shop. Calhoun, Georgia, exit 321, the Goodyear shop. Good folks in there, good mechanics. On the way home, I guess the clamps were old and bad, and whenever they retightened everything back down, some of them didn't tighten down as good as they should have. So I had a clamp sprung a leak on the way home. I kept having to top off my radiator reservoir. Radiator fluid still shooting everywhere. I was trying to retighten that clamp down. I didn't have any spare clamps on me. Now I do. So I've gone and bought some spare clamps now. I always need tools and clamps and zip ties, Gorilla Glue, fuses. I always got to keep spare stuff. You live and you learn. So but that's where it all started, the radiator, and then got that fixed. Forget what it was after that, but it was like 3 different things 3 weeks in a row. And I got back from one trip. I was at F&W, and my mechanic was 30-40 feet from my truck, and I cranked it up. When I cranked up my truck, I guess he seen a big pile of white smoke come out the stack. Shut it off, shut it off. He's doing all this. Shut it off. Like, hey, what did I do? Something blow up? But we shut it off, and after a process of elimination and trying to find out if it was the EGR or just didn't know what it was. I was losing coolant, but I didn't see where it was leaking, so we knew the motor was eating the coolant. And anytime the motor's eating the coolant, you got a blown head gasket. So my mechanic at Elite Diesel, the owner of Elite Diesel, Jimmy Knight, I got him on the phone. He said, put a bottle of water underneath the radiator reservoir. There's a valve, little hose that comes across the back side of it. And he said, put that hose in a bottle of water, and if it starts blowing bubbles, you've lost compression. Got a blown head gasket. Sure enough, I've got a video. I'll try to squeeze both of them together. But we knew it was a blown head gasket. So in that conversation, he said, you know, if we get down in there and we know you got a blown head gasket and your liner of protrusion is shot too, we might as well just go ahead and do a motor rebuild. Well, all right. I mean, if it makes sense and it needs it, let's do it. You know, it's a Detroit 60. If you rebuild it, I'll get another 800 to 1,000,000 miles out of it. If it's a no-brainer and it needs it, do it. That's just common sense. So they tear it down, and he calls me over to the shop. Now the truck's at Elite Diesel. My guy Zach said that, you know, when it comes to a trucker's truck making him money and big jobs like that, take it to a shop that'll warranty the work. So that's what we did. Zach's my go-to guy. Zach's great, but we took it to Jimmy because Jimmy will warranty the work. So we're looking at about a $13,000 bill for the head gasket, rebuilding the motor, Now that'll be all new internals, everything new. Turbo won't be new, and the injectors will not be new, but everything else will be. So I'm excited. You know, a lot of folks say, man, how do you do it? That's 13 grand. Well, that's why you save, and that's why you prepare for stuff like that to happen, because you know it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. You know, you just got to prepare for it. If you bring it home 3 grand a week, you can't go out there and spend 3 grand a week. You gotta put it away, because you know it's going to happen. So we were financially prepared. You take lemons and make lemonade, you know. So just one of those things where take a negative and turn it into a positive, you know. And for me, I'm not a negative person. I try to be positive just about 100% of the time. When there's a little bit of darkness, you try to find the light as quickly as possible. So in saying that, you know, we talk about the perks of being at F&W, and there in Augusta, we live in Evans, you know, 15-20 minutes from the yard. You know, we talk about the perks of being there and why that's home for me, and why I feel like I'll be there a very long time, if not my whole career. You know, and for me, the #1 perk for being at F&W is, and owner-operators that are out there can relate, whether you're leased on or you got your own authority, you know what I'm fixing to say. You'll understand what I'm fixing to say. If your truck is in the shop and it's something major, and you're at that shop's discretion, they could take 2 weeks before they even pull your truck in the shop to diagnose it or fix it. That's 2 weeks you just sitting at home not making any money. Nothing. So at F&W, if my truck is in the shop and it's going to be in there for a while, I have a security blanket. I can rent a company truck, if there's one available, from F&W. It's $325 a week rental plus 10 cents a mile. Now, some of you might say, well, I'd soon sit at home. Well, all right, that's fine. Look, that's you. I can't sit at home. I got to still make a check. I like to have a check hit my account every week. Even on the weeks I take vacation, I'll work the first 2-3 days of that week and then take a 4-day weekend on vacation. It's very rare I'll take a whole week off for anything. Because I just don't like the thought of a check not hitting my account for a week. So the #1 perk for me is that right there. I can rent a truck and still make a check while my truck's in the shop getting worked on. I won't deplete my savings. If anything, I'm still adding to it, building it up. So, you know, it's just it's a security blanket you're not going to find at many places. So, trying to decide on the title for this video, whether it's The Hustle, trying to save as much as I can, since I know I don't want to pull out of my savings to pay for my motor rebuild. So I've been trying to save the last 3 weeks as much as possible to put a good chunk towards the motor rebuild, so I ain't got to pull out of my savings. I didn't want to touch it. So, you know, it's just for me financially, for me and my wife, you know, we try to live within our means, and you know, got to be smart about, you know, what's coming in and what's going out. You know, if you can minimize what's going out, what's coming in builds up real quick. So just real blessed to have F&W. Blessed to have Zach and Jimmy. You know, if you're making good decisions, wise decisions, and you surround yourself with folks who do the same, and they're positive people and don't mind lending a helping hand from time to time, that's a recipe for success. So, you know, I thought about, you know, what I was going to say in this video, and you don't want it to be all doom and gloom, you know, the motor rebuild, but a lot of folks will tell you, man, you should have got 1.2 million miles out of that Detroit 60. True enough, I probably should have, but, you know, I didn't. So it's got almost 800,000 on it, and I'm rebuilding it. So, you know, 6.5 dozen of another. You know, you can't look back and say, well, what if, you know, I bought that truck in October, you know, what, 7 months ago? Was it blown then? Was the head gasket blown then? I don't really know. You just can't tell. You can't go back and say, well, what caused it? You're trying to point the finger at something, you know, and you just don't know. There's no telling what caused it. So I don't run my trucks hard. You know, cruise control set at 66, 67. I ain't trying to run 75 mile an hour like some of them long nose Pete's or KWs are, you know. I try to get the best fuel mileage out of them that I can, and you know, you take care of it, it'll take care of you. So it's just one of those things where I think it's an 05, you know, telling, you know, what that truck needed when I bought it. You know, so we've had to do a lot to it, but by the time we get done with it, it'll be right. So I just try to turn a negative into a positive, and see what that truck's going to do for me the next 5, 6, 7 years. You know, I mean, it's going to be a good truck. So I'm excited to get it back and get back into it. So I appreciate y'all who support me in these videos, who watch. Y'all text me, y'all make comments, you know, where you been? You ain't done a video in a while. And I appreciate the support, and, you know, the punch in the gut. Hey, do a video, you know. So everybody needs a little kick in the butt from time to time, you know. So I just been out here working real hard, trying to hustle and get as much in the account before I gotta pay this rebuild. So, but we worked 6 days last week. Got off the clock Saturday about 12 noon, and left back out Sunday night about 10:30 for Rockville, Indiana. Made that drop yesterday about 12 noon. Got my 10 hours off. Cranked it back up last night about 10:30. Went over to Plainfield, Indiana. Got there about 12:30, a little after midnight. I checked in this morning at 8 a.m. I was the first one to check in, and just left there about an hour and a half ago. So it's food product, like boxes and stuff, for a food distributor in Louisville, Tennessee. So that's where we're heading now, and then from there a load going back to Augusta. So yeah, just hustling, you know, trying to get it. So I hope the videos are informative. I hope, you know, if they help someone that's an owner operator, or, you know, if someone out there says, man, that #1 perk for him would be the #1 perk for me at F&W. You know, that's an awesome catch right there. You know, you're not gonna find many other companies out there that'll do that for you. You know, but yeah, cruising along. So hope everyone's having a great week. Y'all be safe. We'll see y'all on the next one.